Hello Vols, welcome to week 1 of our bathtub and water safety series.
Today in our water safety topic, we will be discussing how to be prepared and be safe around the pool this summer, taking COVID-19 into consideration.
Tip number 1, come prepared. You will be your safest when you bring your own mask, bring your own chair, and bring your own toys and equipment. Tip number 2, don't swim in a crowded pool. This is an example of a pool that is too crowded. Don't swim in a pool that looks like this. In order to maintain social distance at the pool, you should wear a mask while on deck, and you should maintain proper social distancing of 6 feet in the water as well as 6 feet on the pool deck. Pools have also lowered their max bather load in order to help with social distancing. Tip number 3, understand the new normal, especially for your pool. Know what your pool's new adjusted bather load is. Know if your pool has any adjusted swim times. Know what your pool's bathroom availability looks like. Do you have to make a reservation for lap swim? Do you have to make a reservation for overall swim time? Know if your swim times have been adjusted for at-risk populations. Be prepared to wear a mask on deck. Be prepared to socially distance 6 feet in the water. Be prepared to socially distance 6 feet on deck. Know where the locations of any hand sanitizing and hand washing stations might be. Tip number 4, families who play together have safe fun together. Not only does playing in the pool as a family unit lower the drowning risk, but if you limit play to the family unit, you will also lower your family's risk of contracting and spreading COVID-19. Tip number 5, know where the dangers lie. In a pool with well-maintained water chemistry, the pool itself is relatively safe to swim in. You might want to check with staff to ensure proper chemical levels before getting into the pool, just to be safe. The danger lies in community spaces like the pool deck, eating areas, and bathrooms, as well as any equipment that is designated as community use. Also, please know that the most dangerous thing about swimming is still the drowning risk. In today's bathtub swim lesson, we will be going over one of the most important topics, bubble blowing and breath control. Things you will need for today's lesson: bubbles and a straw. First, we are going to start with Polly, who is 20 months old. She is going to start by blowing actual bubbles. This can be done outside or in the bathtub. If you notice here, Polly is doing a good job making pursed lips and blowing out, which are keys to bubble blowing in the water. Now she is trying to blow bubbles with a straw into a bowl of water. This can be done in a bowl like this one with food coloring to dye the water, or even in the bathtub. Polly here was actually sucking up the water with the straw. We will keep practicing blowing out. The straw is good for kids who have trouble pursing their lips. And finally, we have Polly trying to blow bubbles in the water. She is trying in a lake, but this can be done in a baby pool, backyard pool, bowl of water, and even a bathtub. You will see here, Polly did a really good job of pursing her lips and blowing, just not in the water, which is okay. She told me she had enough, and we will keep trying tomorrow. The key to bubble blowing and breath holding for parent-child aged children is learning through play. The main goals are pursed lips and blowing out. Please note, you or an older sibling should show them how to do it. Sometimes they aren't ready, and that's okay. Tell them how good they are doing just by trying. Keep trying each day. Next, we will be working with Miles, who is 3 years old. Like Polly, Miles will be starting with the easy, fun activity of blowing soap bubbles. This should be a fun check-in challenge for your preschool-age kids to see how many bubbles they can blow with one breath. For Miles' straw activity, I had him see how long and how big of bubbles he could blow through his straw. Because he is 3 years old, the goal is for him to be able to blow bubbles for at least that long. And last up for Miles, we had him blow bubbles in the water. You will see him blow bubbles in the lake on his stomach, which is good practice for front float, which will be covered at a later time.
and then he blows bubbles in the baby pool. And like the straw, the goal is 3 seconds of bubble blowing with a single breath. For preschoolers, I try to repeat each activity at least 3 times. The key to bubble blowing and breath control for preschool-aged children is to challenge them through fun, progressively more difficult activities. The goal is for your preschool-aged child to be able to submerge their entire mouth and nose and perform a controlled exhale without breathing in any water. Ultimate success for the exhale length will be 1 second for however many years old the child is. In Miles' case, that was 3 seconds for a 3-year-old. Please note, repetition and practice will help you reach the success benchmarks that you're looking for. Repeat activities based on how old the child is. 1 rep for each year. Again, for Miles, who is 3 years old, the goal is to do 3 reps. And finally, we will be working with Jane, who is 6 years old. For Jane's soap bubble activity, I had her demonstrate for her younger sibling Polly how to purse her lips and blow. Like with Miles, Jane's straw activity also included seeing how long she could blow bubbles for through the straw. It was fun for Jane and Miles to see who could blow bubbles the longest. For Jane's in-water bubble blowing activity, you can see she had her full body in the lake and was blowing bubbles. This can be made even more challenging by blowing bubbles with facial submersion. We will go over this next week. In the small pool, you can see Jane controlling her breathing by blowing bubbles out underwater, then picking her head up to get a breath, then blowing bubbles again. This can be made even more challenging with full bobs, which we will cover next week as well. The key to success for your school-aged children when it comes to bubble blowing and controlling their breathing is to make practicing fun so that they can master the skills at harder and harder levels. Achieving success in these skills is vital for future skills, like bobbing to safety and actual face-in swimming with forward progress. You want to see your school-aged child achieve comfort and calm while doing this without fighting for breath. You want to see them achieve natural breathing in and out even though they are breathing in above water and breathing out underwater. Also, please don't encourage them to hold their nose. They will need that hand when it comes time to swim. And to wrap up this week's bathtub swim lesson, we will be going over some important safety rules to teach your children. Asking for permission to swim and only swimming if they have adult supervision. They should ask before going swimming each time, even in a baby pool, backyard pool, lake, or ocean. At the start of each lesson, you should have them ask for permission just to reinforce this. Children should never swim without active, distraction-free adult supervision, preferably by you. You know what normal play looks like for your child, and you'll be able to know if something is wrong.
Should you always ask permission before you get in the water?
Yes.
Should you always have an adult watch you while you're in the water?
Yes. Can we go swimming?
Yes.
Share your success with us. We would love to hear from you. Comment with photos and videos of your bathtub swim lesson successes. Ask us your questions. We'd be happy to answer any that you might have.
See you all next Friday for the do's and don'ts of the pool and for the bathtub swim lesson topics of facial submersion and eye clearing.